when you sign up to be involved in football, I think, you might have days like yesterday and the ups and the downs. How do you kind of prepare yourself for a tough loss like this, be able to flush it? And how do you sort of get that message across to the team?
Yeah, it starts, you watch the film with your staff and make sure everybody's on the same page. And it's never as good as you thought it was, and it's never as bad. And this league, each and every week, is going to be a dogfight. And it was once again. Saw a lot of good things on that tape. There's a lot of things we would have liked to have done differently. But, we take about 24 hours to digest it and come up with any answers we need to come up with, and then get the players back in here tomorrow and discuss it and move on.
Coach, just curious this morning if you have any updates on injuries. How'd you come out of the game health-wise?
It appears fairly clean. The guys that have been out, Kenyon and Drake Kirkpatrick, kind of day-to-day on them still. The one, KP had the concussion, and he's in the protocol. But other than that, I think it was pretty clean.
Looks like our next three will be Bob, Josh, and David, please.
Kliff, we're at the halfway point. How would you look back and evaluate the pluses, the negatives, and the overall, and if you could sum it up? What's the first half mean to you from a coach?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a learning experience for all of us. It's a unique season, there's no doubt. I think we've made some strides. I think the guys have a good attitude. They know what's out in front of them and the opportunity we have, and that's exciting. Obviously, you'd love to be undefeated, and so would every other team, but that's not where we're at. But I do think that we're in a position where we can kind of control our own destiny from here on out. And at the midway point, that's about all you can ask for.
Hey, Kliff, you've taken a lot of the blame for missed plays. You say it's a lot of your play calling, whatnot. When you go back and look at those plays, do you have a mentor, someone that you go and you talk to about this? And then when do you think that is there's how much time do you think you need to kind of stop making those mistakes, if you will?
Yeah, I think if you're a really good play caller or aspire to be one, you're going to look back on every game and have 5 or 6 that you wish you could have back, and I'm no different. I mean, that's week in, week out. Whether we score 50 or 10 points, I'm going to wish I had some play calls back. And I usually get with position coaches and our offensive coaches and sit down and talk through those plays and kind of get a feel for what we should have done differently, wish we would have done differently, and try to learn and go from there. But it's an imperfect game. Whether you're a player or a coach, you wish you could call the perfect game, but you're not going to. You strive towards that and do the best you can.
Hey, Kliff, this team obviously has proven that it's pretty good at this point, but every time it looks like it might, take a step into the elite, get that, like you said, it's hard to be undefeated. But what do you think the biggest thing holding the team back right now from kind of taking that step from being good to great?
I feel like it's just a natural progression as we grow as a team. We're at the halfway point. We're not close to what we think we can be, and that's exciting for us as coaches. We've had some moments of brilliance, if you will, and we've had some moments we'd like to have back, and that's natural for the midway point. What matters is what we do forward, and I know our guys have a good attitude. Getting some healthy bodies back defensively will definitely help this stretch run, and so we're excited to see how it plays out.
Next up, Darren, Catherine, Kevin.
Hey, Kliff. You guys have been, you obviously have been pretty aggressive when it comes to going forward on 4th downs, and you guys have been really successful over the last couple of years. Was there a moment where you thought about that before the last field goal, where you thought about going for it, and did the Edmonds play impact your thinking in that in any way?
No, I felt good about kicking there. Hindsight's 20/20, no question. And if I would have known that we wouldn't have made it, I would have went for it. And that's about how it goes every week. But we trust Zane. He's been great for us, and just didn't work out this time.
Kliff, do you know for sure if you'll have DK and Byron back this week? And if so, how can that shore up this defense?
We're hopeful. They're still in the protocol as of now, but I'm hoping Wednesday both those guys will clear it and we can get them both back. And Byron had been playing at a high level, whether it was the nickel or the corner, and so had DK really been a big factor at his position in the run game and getting pass rush. So I think it'd make a big difference to answer your question. Both those guys are solid players and have done a nice job for us this season.
Hey, Kliff, obviously you guys got Max and Jalen back off the IR. How did you think they did, and like how 100% or as close to can be is Max, I guess, since he came back kind of more recently?
Yeah, we had Max on kind of a pitch count last night. I'm not sure the exact number, 15 to 20 was our goal, and I thought he did a nice job. He is a veteran, savvy player, gives us a lot of confidence there at that position, and was good to have him back out there. And then Jalen, he played, I think, 60 snaps, and I thought he did a nice job. He was all over the field and made a bunch of tackles and kind of fit right back in.
Next up, Bob, Josh, and Craig.
Kliff, I know the league is kind of making preparations in case a game or two is canceled because of COVID. What are you curious to see if the league can get all these games in moving forward with the spikes we're seeing across the country and especially within the league itself?
Yeah, I'm hopeful. You said it. There's definitely spikes across the country, which makes you nervous about the prospect of finishing. But we're all hopeful, and the NFL has done everything in its power, I know, to have everything in place to try and pull this off. So we're trying to do our part here and control what we can control, really.
Hey, Kliff, obviously Kyler's tough to prepare for, and I think we've seen that every week now with who you've played. If you had to prepare for him, would you use a quarterback or would you use other positions who can replicate that speed? And how tough do you think it is for these other teams to prepare for him?
Yeah, there's not many that can match that type of suddenness and quickness. So I think I would probably have some sort of slot receiver on certain plays and try to have those guys track him down, because he's a unique talent when it comes to his stop-start ability and making people miss in space. I don't know if we've seen that at the quarterback position in this league.
I want to go back to that play calling question earlier, Coach, just about, you'd like to have some back when they don't work, but obviously there's an execution element to that. And then there's times when the defense just flat out beats you in those. How do you balance that when you look back at that and say, well, that play would have worked, but this happened?
Yeah, that's a great point. And to that point, Miami had a great scheme. They're really good on defense. Going back and watching it, two good corners that they can man up at any point. A great front, long, athletic young guys, and Coach Flo has them playing at a high level and playing really hard. And so they made some plays when they had to. But I think if you're a competitor, you go back and you're always going to try and call the perfect play and wish you would have done something different when it doesn't work out.
We'll wrap up with three more, please. Kyle, Richard, and Catherine.
Kliff, obviously you've always been a big Kyler proponent, but having a game like that against the defense that you just said is so good, does that even raise the ceiling more for what you expect out of him in the second half of this season?
I do think he's, since about the first month when he settled in, has really upped his game, and his preparation, his consistency at the facility has been great, and I couldn't be more impressed with how he's handled everything in a unique year, and I'm excited to see how the second half of the season plays out for him, because he's playing with a lot of confidence.
Yeah, Coach, after a tough loss like this, where there's a bunch of, would have, could have, should have, how important is it for the veteran leadership to step up in their role and make sure the younger players don't let this feeling linger where it affects future games?
That's a great point. We have great veteran leadership, and you can hear them, in the locker room post-game talking about it. I mean, there's no panic. There's no, sky is falling mentality from this group. They understand there's a lot of football left to play, and the most meaningful games are in front of us. And to have a group like that helps you lead from inside the locker room has been great for us as a staff.
Kliff, over the last year and a half, we've seen Kyler, after some losses, put it all on himself and recognize what he could have done better. But last night, outside of the strip sack, really not too much more I feel he could have done. So is there a different level of frustration for him after a loss like last night when he's putting up the numbers he did, but the team isn't able to get the win?
I don't think so. I mean, he's a competitor and he wants to win first and foremost. And, he was frustrated just like all of us were last night. We wanted to win that game and weren't able to get it done. But I don't think he looks at it that way. I mean, he sees it at the end of the day. Let's just find a way to win. And I thought he played his heart out. He was diving for first downs, going head first, taking shots, doing all those things that you want that leader to do. And so we'll be better for it moving forward.